This is the story of Rapunzel.
A long time ago, in a faraway land, a man and a lived happily together, waiting for the birth of their first child. They lived in a small house with a big garden behind it, but they never dared to go inside the garden because they had heard a witch lived inside of it and would curse anyone who entered. One day, the woman sat by the window, looking out at the garden, starving for food. When she saw the delicious vegetables and fruit growing inside without any money they bought, became desperate for something to eat. The man had no choice but to sneak into the garden and take some for food, this wife. So he climbed over the wall and began filling his basket with all the vegetables. As he was placing the last of the tomatoes in his basket, he heard an angry voice call out, "Who is you could take my vegetables?" Shook and scarce, he begged the witch, "Please, don't hurt me. I'm taking these vegetables for my wife and future child." The witch rubbed her chin and thought, "Child? I will spare you and even let you eat all the tasty trees in my garden, but in return you must give me your child." The man was so terrified that he quickly agreed and ran back home relieved to be safe. Not long after their daughter was burned, and the very next day the witch kept her promise and took the child from them. The witch named the girl as Rapunzel. Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful girl with long golden hair as long as a football field. By age 13, the witch trapped the princess in a tower deep in the forest with no door or stairs so that no one could ever take her. Every morning the witch would visit Rapunzel and say, "Rapunzel, let down hair." Rapunzel would let down her hair and then witch would climb up to visit her. Rapunzel hated the witch visit as she was so cruel to a man. Every day when she saw she was alone, Rapunzel would visit Rapunzel would sing out her window dreaming of a better world. Many years later, a prince was sing out her window dreaming of many years later, a prince was exploring the forest. When he heard the most beautiful singing he had ever heard, he followed the singing all the way toward and hid behind a bush. And while Rapunzel was singing, he fell instantly in love and watched as the witch came to call out to Rapunzel and climbed the tower. After the witch left, the prince called out to Rapunzel
This is the story of Rapunzel.
of the tower, just like he had seen the witch do. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Down tumbled the long golden hair and up climbed the prince. At first Rapunzel was frightened of the stranger, as she had never seen a man before, but she was immediately taken back by how kind and loving he was compared to the evil witch. Rapunzel loved hearing the prince's stories of the outside world, how there are vast deep oceans to swim in hot town squares with hundreds of happy people, and the prince's castle where she could explore all day. They fall in love immediately and he promised to rescue her so they could live happily together. But they needed a plan to escape the next day, and for many days after when the prince visited Rapunzel he would bring her silk so that she could knit and weave a rope to climb down. One day the witch noticed Rapunzel hiding something in the corner and grew suspicious. She discovered the silk rope and became enraged. The witch got so angry that she cut off Rapunzel's beautiful golden hair and cast a spell that sent her deep into the middle of the forest to live. When the prince came late that day, he called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Down came tumbling Rapunzel's long golden hair. When the prince reached the top, the witch cried, "Huh! The princess has gone forever, and you will never find her." Shocked, the prince fell landing in a patch of thorns that scratched his eyes, making him blind. Heartbroken and blind, the prince wandered around the forest for months calling out, "Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Where are you?" He didn't know where he was and he felt like giving up, until one day he heard the most beautiful singing he'd ever heard. "Rapunzel, is that you?" "Shoot!" "Yes, I found you at last!" she cried, running into his arms, and they hugged each other, so happy to finally be together again. She cried tears of joy and that fell into his eyes and covered his blindness. Together the prince led them back to his castle, and they lived happily ever after the end. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Sylvie Nayatila, and then I'm going to share with you about three big points of the story. First one is elements of Rapunzel, and second, language feature, and then the last one is generic structure. Okay, the first one is elements of Rapunzel. Setting of time, a long time ago, and setting of place in faraway land. And then the characters of the story is Rapunzel, strong, kind, patient, and humble. And then the witch, cruel and cunning. The prince, kind, compassionate, and loyal. Mother's Rapunzel, strong, kind, and patient. Father's Rapunzel, kind and patient. Plot. Introduction. Rapunzel parents give their baby to the witch. Climax. Rapunzel was trapped in the tower deep in the forest. Ending. Rapunzel meet the prince and getting married. And then the genre is fairy tale. Point of this story using third person point of view, and because the writer or narrator mentioned the need of characters in the story. The last one is theme. This story tell about the girl with long golden hair that trapped in the tower. Okay, second is language feature. Tenses, past tense. They live in the small house. He began filling his basket. He heard an angry voice. Past perfect tense. The man had no choice. They had heard a witch. She had never seen a man before. The kind of verb. Intransitive verb. Heard, said, ran, growled, lived, cried. Transitive verb. Watch, climb, visit, followed. Action verb. Snaking, climb, run, trapped, cut. Time conjunction. Finally and after. Adverb of time. In the next day, many years later, a long time ago, every day, one day. Direct speech. Who said you can't take my vegetable? Please don't hurt me. I'm taking this vegetable for my wife and future child. Rapunzel, please let down your hair. Ha! The princess has gone forever and you will never find her. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, where are you? Rapunzel, is that you? Yes, I found you at least. And then generic structure. Orientation. In the first paragraph, a long time ago, in a very faraway land, a man and a lived happily together, waiting for the birth of their first child. They live in a small house with a big garden behind it, but never dared to go inside the garden because they had heard a witch live inside of it and would curse anyone who entered. The complication in the second paragraph is Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful girl with long golden hair, as long as a football field. But at age 13, the witch trapped the princess in the tower deep in the forest with no doors or stairs so that no one could ever take her. And then resolution in the third paragraph, they fell in love immediately, and he promised to rescue her so they could live happily together. But they need a plane to escape. The next day, and for many days after when he prince visit Rapunzel, he would bring her silk so that she could knit and wave a rope to climb down. Reorientation in the third paragraph, she cried tears of joy that fell into his eyes and carried his blindness. Together, the prince led them back to his castle and they lived happily ever after the end. Okay, that's all enough for my explanation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.